I can't imagine everything that you are doing, because like it's amazing. And welcome everyone to the Everybody Podcast, because we are live. But I want to introduce our guest, Tisha Savage, who is the CEO of Revolutionary Pageants. And if you can tell, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm wearing my crown, and I'm so excited.
So good.
And so this is beautiful. And like, so we'll get into all that, and so we'll explain why I'm wearing a crown. But introduce yourself real quick. Tell the people who you are, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name is Tisha Savage, and I'm the CEO and Executive Director of Revolutionary Pageants.
Hey, yes. And tell them, like, what is Revolutionary Pageants? Because a lot of my followers, they've seen, like, I've done strongman, bodybuilding, running, all these different things. And so when it comes to pageants and stuff, I kind of want them to understand, and I want to learn too, because you've been in this industry forever, right?
A long time, 21 years, I think.
Oh my gosh. So were you just like out the gate, like just as a teenager, or like were you like?
Yeah, I was a teen.
Okay.
16.
How did you? Yeah, are you from here? Like, how did all that get started?
I'm from Florida.
Okay.
I originally was in modeling really heavy, like 14, I would say 14, 15. And then I was like scouted basically from a pageant director who like ran after me in a parking lot. And that's kind of how it happened after that.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. And then I tried it once, like didn't place top 10 at all. What was that? Miss Jacksonville Teen America. So the Miss America system was like what I was talking about before. I did that, didn't place. I played the saxophone really heavy in like marching band. So that was kind of my passion, and they have talent. So that's why, okay, cool. But when I didn't place, I just thought, okay, this is it for me. Like I'm out, I'm done. Yeah. And then the director from Florida, United States found me, and I stayed in that system for 8 years. So
okay. And so what were the years for that? You were how old to how old?
Yeah, I was like, I would say I was around like 17, I think, when I finally went back to that one. And then I did it for 8 years, almost to 10 years. I still stayed in the system. And then finally got to nationals and won Miss Florida and went to Miss United States.
So which is amazing, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, what was that experience like? Like, was it, because I'll be real with you. When we talked about all this, you best believe I just rented Miss Congeniality and was watching it.
Ironically enough, Miss Congeniality is based off United States, so that's the pageant system I started.
Okay.
So like all their songs when they're in the bus, like that's from United States. So
that's so cool. Yeah. Okay, so a little legitimate.
So,
all right.
Yeah, so it's not far off. Like to be honest with you, a lot of the like things that you see in the movie or the stereotypes, things you get made fun of, like stuff does happen. Like the girls will sing together on a bus, like going to a trip. It's fun. It's a huge sisterhood, but at the same time, it's like can be very toxic. So that's where like why we wanted to do Revolutionary is because it needed in the industry, I think.
So, is it one of those things where like people they can go for Miss America, and then like, do you know roughly like how many other pageant systems there are?
There's crazy stats, and I don't want to like speak, but I believe there's 250,000 a year, different types.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like all over the country, not just like in the US. Like I don't know that number, but I think worldwide, I think it's 250,000.
That's crazy.
Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's around that. And then girls will compete in different systems, and then some, I don't know if you have that in bodybuilding, but if there's like a non-compete clause where they like lock you into that program for a year, that happens as well. So like some girls will bounce around and compete everywhere, and some will be held to like one system.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So within your journey, so I guess you stopped competing around what age were you?
2014 is when I stopped competing. I was given my judges' feedback on the sheets, and they said the curvy one, the girl that was overweight. And when I saw that, I was like, I'm out. Like, this is it for me. I was a size 6, and like you can see my ribs and my swimsuit. Right. I was barely eating and working out 24/7. Right. So at that point, I was like, no, this is not for me anymore. This is like too toxic.
So in that was like, I guess because you had like is it a prep coach or kind of like a?
I had coaches, pageant coaches.
Were they very much like you need to be a certain size? Like
no.
You need, like okay.
My coaches were not like that. Okay. It was just the systems that you compete in.
I see.
Unfortunately.
And so you got up there, size 6, and they're like the curvy one, not having it. Like, okay. So then were you like, was it one of those things where you all kind of like were competing, kind of felt like that? Because like when I've come off stage with bodybuilding, like I did the wellness category, which is lower, like a more shapely lower half. Okay. So they still want you to look, peeled and look, muscular and whatever, but you're basically supposed to have like a big booty. Okay. A very muscular booty, whatever. And then like thicker legs. And so when you do that, we all came off stage one time and we were like, how did like certain people get placed? Like, it was so confusing because, you know, we never knew what they were looking for, right? And that because it's a newer category, right? So I'm wondering, like, with you guys, because these systems have been in place for so long, were y'all just kind of like, yeah, like we know what it, like we kind of felt that, like,
yes,
okay,
yeah,
it's
definitely.
very obvious.
Yeah, it's very obvious. And then just back in the day, there was just very heavy stereotypes on which systems. Like, I know I can speak on behalf of it. I'm not talking down about them, but like if you're Miss USA, like you had to be over 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. Skinny, of course, because there was like no one over a size 4, size 6. And then Miss America was more the shorter girls. So like you would, if you were too tall, you weren't going to win Miss America, which doesn't make any sense, but it did always end up that way back in the day. I know now it's a little bit different. I mean, I think there was a really girl who was like over 6 feet in the top 5 this year for Miss America. So I'm like, okay, cool. We got like some height diversity, like awesome. But it's sad. Like,
right. So are the judges for these these systems, are they always the same people? Do they rotate them in and out?
They rotate, yeah.
Okay. But do you kind of know like who the judges are? Like, because like, we have like a head judge for bodybuilding. Like we know like the lady, like and whatever, when she comes to the stuff, but usually the judges are different people. And so, but like you kind of know, I don't know, you know what I mean? There's always politics, I feel like, within all of this.
Big politics, yeah.
Okay. So from the age of 24, right, when you stopped with that and you went and you're like, I'm out. And then now you're how old?
37.
Okay, 37. So what, like, during that journey, were you just kind of like still within the systems and still kind of taking everything in? Were you just like, man, like, I just wish this would change? And then you're like, I want to start, I have to be the one to change it because it's not changing.
I didn't think like I wanted to be the one to change it until about 4 years ago. Okay. And then prior to that, when I gave up, I was still in the industry. I still supported my friends, you know, like who was competing still. But I just focused on like being a small business owner from then on and was like, I'm done with this. Like, this is not something I want to focus on. But obviously I am appreciative of my journey and what I went through because I've learned, you know, crazy skills going through it. Like you learn public speaking skills or, you know, how to get up and interview in front of like a panel and like, it's very nerve wracking. So I won't like say I didn't learn or take away like great 100%. Skills because I did, but it was just, it can be a very toxic environment.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I will say like, you know, is it, I guess from your experience now, like with starting this, are you finding like with when you were like the past 4 years, like was there an initial moment that happened that you were just like, I actually like can start this, like I can find an investor, I can like what was the moment there that was
that
like,
happened right before COVID, so it was really bad timing and I got shamed. Like I have a lot, like my name was tarnished like big time because we were putting on a pageant and producing shows, and then COVID happened, the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
And then we were forced to like go where I was working with the mayor like very closely just to produce a pageant, which
here in Nashville.
Yeah, here in Nashville. I'm sorry. And he was awesome. Like Cooper, he was very, very hands-on and would check in on me like every week and then be like, okay, are you guys doing this? Like then we were assigned like an epidemiologist and I'm like, why are we having to do all this for one event at a hotel for a pageant? Like it's kind of a lot. And then long story short, we got picked up by a very large TV network to produce the show. And then at that time with the TV network, they had very strict protocols with COVID and there was no way to produce the event. Like they didn't even want anyone in the audience to drink water or pull their mask down to drink water. Man. Like this is not going to work for me.
Right.
So they ended up canceling. They said, we cannot make it. We're not bringing the team out, which was, you know, just a snowball effect from that. And then we had to cancel. So of course the girls were very upset at me thinking it was my decision of why we had to cancel.
So was this, but you hadn't announced Revolutionary yet?
I had not.
Okay,
no,
so was this just
system.
like, this was just a different system, okay, that you were like working with?
Yeah.
And was that what you mean by like small business like before?
No, like I've been in the field of event planning and
Okay, so you've had all the others. So,
yes.
So you had experience in this.
Yes.
And plus you've gone through it. So you not can only empathize with like putting on an event, but also the people who are going through it and, you know, and experiencing it. So you wanted to create this like safe space for them.
Correct.
Okay. And then when that hit, were you just kind of like, I mean, did that just kind of take all the energy out of it? Or were you like, okay.
No, I was like, I'm out. Like, I'm never getting back into this again. And if you would have asked me then if this was happening now, I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah. So then what changed?
I ended up getting referred to compete in another system. And I was like, they're like, come out of retirement. We really want you to compete. I'm like, you guys are insane. Like I have arthritis, like, and I have gained weight. I have a disability. I'm not getting on stage. I can't wear heels. I can't get back in shape right now. How is this going to work?
Yeah.
Well, the system that was, presented to me said it was like a very safe space, accepted disabilities. If I wanted to walk on the stage in gown barefoot, you could. So I said, okay, cool. Sign me up. I'm there. And the thing that sold me was like their focus was like a self-care type of focus for their system. So I was like, awesome. Yeah. So I will not like take that away from that system because I did learn, grow. Yeah. And I think that it did get me out of bed sometimes when I wouldn't have got out of bed. So I was like, awesome. Okay. But when we got to nationals, it was a full-on beauty pageant. So I'm like, come on. So I was very disappointed. I walked in the room and I was like, there's no way I'm winning this. Yeah. I shouldn't be here. Why? I'm not getting on stage.
So you felt very alienated.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Were you, did you see anyone that looked like you like out there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So there were other bodies. It wasn't just like.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you all kind of like in the same boat of like, man, this is just another beauty pageant? Like we thought it'd be different?
Several of us like said it. Yeah. So that was unfortunate for me to go through that experience. And then when we walked into the interview room, I'm seeing like veteran pageant judges that I know are veterans in the business. And I'm like, I have no business being up here. Like just, and seeing them just like, okay, will they be biased? Like, are they going to take the director's like initiative or what her mission is? Are they going to be biased and judge like from what she's trying to build? And I just realized I'm like, well, then that comes down to judges selection. I feel like she should have chose different judges, like who would appreciate and maybe someone who's not a veteran or mix it up. But that was the issue with me. And then there was only 2 judges in the interview and then on stage there was 5. So I had a huge problem with that because the 3 that judged us on stage,
they didn't even get to hear.
They didn't get to hear me. So when I got off stage, one of the judges said to me, wait, to the other judge, she was like, oh, she actually has arthritis. Like I scored her off for being barefoot. I'm like,
wow, that should have been like a that's crazy.
My blood was boiling while I was on stage. I'm like, and I had heels. I finally was like, okay, I can do this. I'm like, 5 minutes on stage, just put them on. I got this. And then my feet were so swollen. And one of the other title holders that was a queen, the top that year, she was on the floor, like trying to help me with my shoes. And she did for her interview too. So I thank her so much because like she got my shoes on, but we could not get my shoes on for a gown. So I went barefoot. I was like, okay, I'm like, cool.
That sucks so bad. Because it's like, And man, I can't even imagine. Because it's literally like you really thought like you had an opportunity to be, a part of something like really special and cool. So then after that happened, were you just like, okay, so I'm going to start.
Was instant.
Okay. You're like, I can do this better.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that.
Like, no offense, but yes. Like, and I just felt like the main thing was the judges selection. Like of course, if you have one veteran pageant judge, like awesome. I think it had to have been mixed up or maybe somebody else like, that could definitely be biased or but again like it was just really tough to like have been retired for that long basically in the industry and then come back to that. So that's kind of what I was like, okay. I had maybe 16 emails like within 48 hours of the girls that also competed there and said was like, can you like host your own? Because
I love that.
Like,
I love that. But that's gotta have like such a good feeling to be like, okay, I know and I can empathize, I can represent and like create that safe space.
Yeah.
And I mean, just from what I've watched and like everything that I've seen so far, I mean, you are just giving your all to this and it's super exciting and I love it. And the fact that you even have health as a presence, just because I never really, you know what I mean? You never think of like, I just never thought pageantry. You just think people who are just like automatically in shape, smaller bodies, whatever, which is fine. That's their deal, whatever. But again, you don't hear about the stories of like them actually working on their health or people that do have issues or have diseases or have these different things and like being able to like, promote and walk and do all the fun stuff. You know what I mean?
And a lot of them have causes, like what they're very passionate about. So that is one thing, like in pageantry and hers, like you did have to have a cause and a civil impact and things that you were working on in the community and prove it. So I totally think that that's another huge stereotype that needs to be broken in the industry as well. Because, on the outsiders, I don't think pageant holders or title holders, I don't think we do enough to show, hey, look, like we're actually working out here in the community. Like right now, Miss America, like she is in our armed forces right now, the first ever to be active duty military and won Miss America. So like things like that. It's like, okay, like we're not just throwing on a crowd. We're not just competing.
Or
like,
saying that we support this cause.
And then not really putting action to it.
So tell everyone what's the, so it's the Arthritis Foundation, right?
That's why the sashes at the international level are green.
Okay.
And then I mixed like with the national level, I did blue, but then we kind of changed our whole focus because I had a crazy idea. But it does also represent mental illness with the blue.
I love that.
So, yeah.
I love that because that's very important to me. So that's awesome.
Yes.
So that's super cool. And yeah, the things that you've talked about, because like, so to tie everything in, you guys, like, basically, there's so many parts to this. So first off is that you'll be holding your nationals in October.
Yes.
And so Dandy Fitness is actually sponsoring, which is super cool. And I'm so excited for this. Just again, to have my mission, align with your mission of loving yourself throughout your journey, and loving your body as well. Cause I know that from what it sounds like and what you've told me in this space, there's just not that love. It's just not there. And it's a lot of comparing and it's a lot of whatever. And I get it, by nature, we want to compare, but it seems like, in what I've felt from this, it's just like going to be a beautiful moment to just be out there, be your best, not worry about everyone else, and just enjoy this process and this journey. And so that's where I'm kind of taking it as, because like, and so guys, like, I'm not doing the pageant, so let's so is that way this, but she needed, as you are starting a pageant and everything like that, like you got to have a first, right? So you got to have title holders.
Exactly.
So when you had said something about like, oh, you could be like Miss Tennessee or Miss, North America or whatever, and I was like, I'm just so like, I'm like, I really want to feel like I earned, you know what I mean?
Right,
and I know that it's like, but I wanted to help you in that space too, and like tie it all together. So that's why I was like, well, as I'm pulling out my sash, the Miss Love Your Body Revolutionary.
Yes.
So that is my title, you guys. So I hope that makes sense with the crown and everything and the blue, and just like it all ties in together. And it's super cool because then this way it's something that I'm so passionate about. Because I do feel like that.
Yeah.
Like I literally walk around every day and I'm like LYB. You know what I mean? I'm like, whether, it's like my my logo or my message of what I wear or what I do or whatever. It's just like, again, and how I get movement in, just like feeling that love for myself, like, cause that's what's going to keep you going in this journey. And, and that's what my clients have seen and everything like that. So it's really cool to have that in this space. And I really hope that the women, and some of them already have, kind of started to take to that. And that's been so cool. Yes. And I love that, and so anyway, so I will actually be at the Nationals and I will be crowning, be crowning the next, the Miss Love Your Body Revolutionary for 2025. Yes. And so that's going to be super cool. So I felt very positive about that, because like I've been trying to get into with bodybuilding. So I tried to get to where it was like, do a confidence award, because again, that's cool. Something like that, because again, you can maybe not be the most like peeled one on the stage or the most like ripped, whatever. But for me, for example, like, everyone was like, dang, like, the presence, the stage, everything. I'm like, I live for the stage. That's awesome. And I love it. And that, but again, you don't get anything for that, right? And so it's kind of disheartening, because you're like, man, but I just wasn't lean enough. That was the feedback, right? And I had too much body fat, whatever. And so it was one of those things where I was like, okay, like, I needed to work on my glutes more. I was like, okay, like I can take those critiques, but like, man, how cool would it be if there was like a confidence type of award, like a Love Your Body. And so anyway, so that's why when we were talking about this and you were so receptive to it, I was like, thank you, because it's like pulling teeth to even get people to understand. Right. Because they're like, well, how could you love yourself if you didn't win? Or like, how could you love yourself if you're not the most shredded one out there? It's like, no, like you can love yourself and appreciate all the hard work. Cause like, that was something that I always noticed. I don't know if it was with like pageant stuff too. Like when the girls came off stage, people were like crying. People are like, right. And people are looking at us and being like, they're literally like coming up to me. I'm like, hey, like, how you feel like you did? And they're like, oh, well, I guess we'll find out. I'm like, no. Like, I'm not asking what you think the judges think of you. Right. How do you feel like you did?
100%.
And then they're like, oh, well, I'm like, no, you literally just dieted for so many months. You put in all these workouts. You did also, you set this example for all these people about like health, right? But yet you're still not happy, right? And you don't love yourself through it, and it's just it's so disheartening, all the work and things put into that.
It is. And at the end of the day, obviously we know there's only one winner, so they have to acknowledge that as well. So we get it, it's a competition, and obviously that's what other pageants I've been in have stressed that to us, so I get it. This wasn't about being sore losers. Like we want to make sure it's fair, exactly, and we can lose fairly or lose with grace and have a great time and just be like, I had a great experience. Well, I like won the Love Your Body award though, like so it's like, hello. Yes, I know, and that's why I'm so stoked. So it's just different, and we're still gonna recognize that Love Your Body title as an international title. So it's not like just a participation award.
Yes.
Like that's not what's happening here.
Yes,
so.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. And so, so you guys, so I'll be doing that. And then the actual, so it's a full weekend. So it's October 11th through the 13th.
Like 10th through the 14th for them.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And so I think the 11th we talked about, I'll be doing Move Fit. So again, getting it for everybody that, is listening, they know, that's my body positive dance format. So super pumped about that. And just to get, because like when I say, and I've stressed this so many times, people are like, oh, I don't dance. It's like, it's not even that. It's the energy. It's the confidence. It's the like, you just get this vibe. You feel sexy. You feel good. And you sweat. Like, I mean, it's a workout, like, whatever, but it's just fun. And like, I really feel like they'll resonate with that.
Yeah.
And,
And I want them to like shake the nerves off as well. And
Heck
especially before their interviews, I think it's like perfect. That's why we picked the 11th. That way it's just a fun activity that they can get their mind
and let
off
loose
of the
and like,
tension of this competition.
I love that. I think that's going to be so awesome. And just such a good thing as the director, like you, like putting that, like having that space.
Yeah.
Because nobody ever like really talks about it before. They're just like, okay, on stage, that's it, whatever. It's like, no, like the things leading up to it. Yeah. The things leading up to it like matter. And it's so good to have a safe space and have that mental release and like that physical release as well. So I'm pumped about that. And then, so besides that, there's other things that you are, you have lined up for with this like system. I mean, there's like something about like Capitol Hill.
Yes.
Like I was like, are we going, like, what are we doing? Who are we meeting? Like, I'm just going to show up at the back of the van. And I'm like, Tish, like, hold the bus. Like, I'm coming. Like, but like, talk about that.
When I competed in September at the other pageant system, like we had to really like pitch and like say, what was your plan for the rest of the year? What are you going to do with this title? Well, I'm like, with win or lose, like I was doing this plan either way. So like I just very quickly pivoted everything I was doing selfishly, not selfishly, but for myself personally. I pivoted that and I was like, okay, how can I involve all these other title holders in what I'm doing and what initiatives we're taking with healthcare and the government. So I was like, hey, can we kind of partner with you guys for this entire pageant system? The Arthritis Foundation was like, of course, like, let's go.
I love that.
So that's where I'm like really passionate. My platform has changed throughout the years. Like I used to volunteer with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I was really big into like music and the arts because I played the saxophone forever. Okay. So now it's like my whole focus, like growing up and now being diagnosed with arthritis, like that's something to me that's like very important, as well as like an accessible access, like fair access to care. So like I feel like it's very, what is the word? I guess it's like ruffles feathers when you talk about universal health care. So like some people, won't agree with me. And maybe back in the day, I didn't, think twice, like, why is that important? But it is very important. And I think we're the only high income nation in the whole entire country that doesn't have universal health care. Like, why is that? So, so I'm just like, I'm involving revolutionary with it.
Well, and what's so cool is that like everything that you've talked to and spoke about with me, it's like, you're like, oh, I'm going to ruffle feathers, I'm going to whatever. I'm like, but me and him were talking about this before we got started. Like, that is the point.
Right.
Like, there has to be people.
It's disruption.
I love it. Yeah. Like, it's creating the chaos. Like,
Right.
It is literally living in that. And that is what I feel like I do every day with this platform, because honestly, I feel like I piss somebody off every day.
100%.
And like, again, like straight up, like, as I'm wearing my crown. Okay. But like, that's how it's always been. It didn't matter if I was 214 pounds or if I was 150 pounds. It didn't matter. And that's what was so frustrating, is it's just like that, like me just speaking on like loving myself is such an issue. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's so crazy to think about. And it's like almost like a lot of people want you to live in, well, this is what we've always done. And that negativity of like, well, how could you? Or like, you're not this. And it's like, I'm so over that.
true.
I'm over it. And I'm over the fact that there's so many beautiful women out there that can't feel that beauty.
Right.
And so I really am hoping, and I know it will be, but like that this can be that space for them.
Yeah.
And
I
do something fun. And like, because again, like you're allowing, it's all bodies, all sizes, right? All ages,
All
different.
height.
Exactly. Like everything. So, I don't know, like I guess in other pageant systems, like, are there a lot around here, like around Nashville that are like, that are welcoming to all bodies?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so. Okay.
No.
This is like brand, like this is like,
yeah, I mean, there's definitely other ones as well. But then what my problem is like there's like Miss Plus America, Miss Curvy Women USA. Like, why do you have to put the Curvy or Plus America into your title on your sash?
Yes.
Like, everyone should just have a fair shot at your overall title instead of like, I shouldn't have to put plus on my title. Right. So I'm not trying to offend anyone if they have that as if that's their, system. But it just, to me, it's like that doesn't make sense. It doesn't do anything justice on what we're trying to do.
Yes.
I'm trying to just create it like a fair way, and that's kind of why we did the scoring how we did.
Yeah.
Like your interview is heavily weighted, and then your activity throughout the all year, and your responsibility calculators, and all these things that you're going to be held responsible for
there's
making
so
your
much.
appearances and your community involvement, and you actually get judged on it. In other systems, you don't get judged on it. It's just that one-time interview,
Wow.
and that's it. So then
yeah,
everything else is on stage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that.
No, but like I love this because
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, because again, I think a lot of people that are listening and watching, like maybe they don't know or they've never heard the background of
Yeah, I'm sure
pageantry,
not. Yeah.
so they don't know
As a
that there's
majority.
so much that like goes into this.
Yeah, I mean, people prepare definitely for over a year. So, like, when
Yeah.
they're coming up and signing up, and like, we're in October, like, people still signing up now and in February, they're gonna be like, I'm behind. Like, they're
Yeah.
gonna think that. So, like, that's a hard, thing to get over, is because a lot of them want a whole year to prepare, which I'm sure you would as a bodybuilder as well,
Yeah.
or in a competition coming up, you want to
Yes.
know. And
You're being mindful of like
Yeah.
projective, like what you're going to do and all the steps that have to take in place 100%. So with this, are you like, do you have a goal of like what October is going to look like in terms of like how many people, or is it
Yeah.
like you have a title holder for every state that is, and then we'll compete? Is that what your goal is? Or-
yeah,
okay.
that's my goal. And I know it's like probably unreasonable, but yeah, that is obviously the goal. And then it does get harder when I am breaking up the age divisions. And we have 7 main divisions, so
Okay.
that's kind of hard. So you do 7 times 50 or 54 or 52, depending on territories or how we take in contestants. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously a lot. Like 7 times 50, for instance, that would be
Yes.
a major competition. So that's kind of where I know the expectations of it should be lower, and
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Even if we have a solid group of 50 girls for
Yeah.
it, I'm glad. But
And you got to start somewhere. Like
yeah,
you have
we
to,
have to start somewhere, and I did start a little bit backwards by adding the international first, but I just felt like there should be a stepping stone no matter what, because some systems you go in, there's just nothing else after.
So
it.
with the international, did they have to be like they were born in, like they were born there and then they moved here, or it's like what is the, I guess they still live there and they're flying into
finalized
this?
all the rules, but I don't know if I've explained this to you yet, but you could enter at large. Like, say you're from Ireland and be Miss Ireland, you could still enter at
Okay.
large because you live there, and then you'll come compete with us.
Okay.
So we're letting them be appointed titles of other countries now, so they don't have to win their country to come compete.
Okay,
So I
I
kind of
see.
started way bigger than I
Yeah.
probably should have, but I wanted to because I just didn't think it would be fair to like USA not to have a stepping stone. And
Yeah.
a lot
Well,
of
you're thinking
systems,
big picture, too.
Yeah,
You wanna
and we
grow
want
in
to
this.
franchise this. Like, we want directors
Yeah.
to buy the franchises and then implement the same mission in their country or their state.
That's so cool.
we're going to franchise up and then also franchise down. So
Yes.
like we would have state directors eventually as well.
Right. So
Yeah.
I know that someone's going to ask this and they're like, well, why am I not competing like in the pageant? So because I'm sponsoring, we didn't feel like it was, ethical to
Correct.
also be competing and things like that,
Yes,
because
correct.
in terms of like, favoritism and just like everything like that. And so, cause I thought about it, but, again, not understanding and I get it though. Like
Yeah.
I get how that can happen. And you want it to be as fair as possible.
Yes.
And you want this first year to just be, just a beautiful experience for everyone.
Yeah.
And I really do think that with my mission and things like that, like my goals align with, I think that it'd be cool to maybe do it sometime. You know
Yeah,
what
that's
I
why I
mean?
said I would definitely support you and watch you and like
Yeah.
show you which systems to enter. Like, I
Yes.
think you definitely should enter another pageant.
Yeah.
But with us, I felt like it was more beneficial for your brand and also us for our mission, like what we want to do, what we want to accomplish, for you to be a sponsor. And then at that point, I was like, okay, it definitely will be a conflict if you sponsor and compete, which if you don't know, it's a big deal and that happens a lot and you'll see it a lot.
Oh, okay.
We saw it in my system in September. We've seen
Yeah.
it on Miss USA. If you've watched the Hulu documentaries, it's like there's a very fine line between a conflict of interest.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching the Love Your Body podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the Patreon account. So Danny D After Dark. That's where you can see exclusive episodes of the podcast, join that community, kind of have that safe space, just to go through your struggles, triumphs, all the things. We'd love to have you. Also, you guys, if you're looking for online programming or anything like that, please reach out to me. You can message me on Instagram or send me an email at danny@dannyfitness.com. If you're interested in fight energy, energy, all the things I have for you in 2024. There's so much going on. So if you want to keep up, just message me and we can make it happen.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here on Love Your Body podcast. And I am Tisha Savage, the CEO and Executive Director of Revolutionary Pageants. We definitely are changing the industry, and we would love for you to be a part of the change. Our website is revolutionarypageants.com. On Instagram, you can find us at Revolutionary Pageants as well.
Do you want to put your crown on?
Oh, this one actually is not my crown, but I just brought it because it's pretty.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Show them like the green. It looks so good. And then what is the? It says
this one
your
is,
sash.
so I don't know if you want to say that on the podcast or not, but I can. But originally I wasn't going to. Directors like will crown themselves, which is like a new thing. But I wasn't gonna do it, and then all the girls were like, "You're crazy. You need to do it."
Yes,
so I did.
Okay, I love it. Yay! Yes. Oh, it's so great. I think it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we have it's me, Heidi, and Marita. So we all have sashes now. But just my crown is not here yet. It's still stuck in deliveries for like 12 days. It's fine.
So cool. I cannot wait to wear this. Like, yay. Okay, so.
I'll put it on for the rest of
Do it. Yes. I love it. We are queens for sure. So tell me, so explain while I put this on, what, about New York, because I've been telling everybody, like I've been giving subtle hits about it and everything like that. So explain what that is to them.
Yeah, we are doing New York Fashion Week with Beauty It's Everywhere. They also own, I know there's little pockets of them.
I'm just going to like to the side. Yes.
They also own Art and Beauty magazine. He has another magazine as well. So we're just taking advantage of everything that they have to offer. It's a little bit different than like if you were walking for Dior or Gucci, and Louis Vuitton down the runway. It's not that. Like this is definitely more an inclusive and diverse group. They allow all bodies to model and go down the runway for designers. So it's pretty an awesome opportunity. It just happens to be where there's like 175 pageant girls usually, and then a little bit of models on top of that. So like it's, I would say still 75% are going to be like pageant title holders. And then you have like a blend of like, 30 to 40 different systems represented. And then he also does where it's called Beauty It's Everywhere. It's an awards show. And I wanted to be there no matter what, if we were involved in the Fashion Week or not, just because hopefully a year from now we're nominated from those awards. So like you could be nominated as like best title holder of the year, whatever, like these big industry pageant awards, we can go next year and hopefully be nominated. So that was like the goal of why we wanted to go this year.
Okay. So I'm going to be walking and I'm so excited. Okay. So I am like, literally, I'm so pumped. But you basically said, you were like, okay, so we'll walk for Revolutionary.
We have our own private show.
Our own private show at the New Yorker.
Yes.
Okay. And that's where we're staying, which is so cool. And then from there, we're just kind of like, and again, I keep going back because like all I have to go off is like bodybuilding, right? So we'll have like the convention center, we'll stay there. And then like there's the big halls that we go and we compete in. So it's kind of like that vibe.
Same thing.
Okay, cool. And then from there, we're doing the award show after.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And at that one, they're just going to announce us with the titles. And then we wear a sash and wear a crown.
Everyone gets like very like fun, like pumped up energy, high energy, and everyone gets to take the runway with their crown sash.
I'm so excited. And that we can just wear whatever.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And then the one before, the actual Revolutionary, like that one, are you dressing us in a gown?
I am, yeah. Okay. I can't announce the designer yet. I've been waiting forever to announce the main designer. The jewelry designer though is one of our sponsors. She's Kristen James Co.
Her stuff looks great.
Amazing. Like Kristen is working overtime to like make really like original pieces for you all. And then she's also sponsoring a pair of $125 each that you all get to keep.
I love
and usually in the modeling industry, like you don't get to keep anything. So she was like, no, like I want to give everyone a gift. I thought that was awesome. And then she'll be with us in nationals as well.
And she's local? Like she's
in Nashville,
okay. So tell me this. So with like, how hard was this for you to get like involved in this, in like New York Fashion Week? Because the way when you Google it, for example, because I Googled it, it's like, because like I want to be able to explain and stuff like that too, people, but it's like hosting at like 4 different places. There's like 4, like the New Yorker's one of them, but like there's runway shows happening all week.
Yeah, everywhere. And there's side events, satellite events, different, designers will be presenting at other, shows throughout the whole time. So it's just, very busy and very fast paced.
Yeah.
It happens actually twice a year in New York.
Okay.
So we haven't decided yet, but we might go for the summer one too.
Okay.
And then hopefully.
Is that like September? Or is that,
September.
Okay.
Or no, I think it is September. I think you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
September. So we've been invited to come back to September already.
That's
So that'd be awesome.
Beauty It's Everywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then eventually with our internationals, which I don't know if I've gone into, that will coincide with New York Fashion Week in 2025.
Okay,
so the
yes.
girls will compete from, Ireland, Germany, our
Cool.
USA girls, whoever wins your Love Your Body as well. Like they'll compete in New York City next year.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So then when you were, was it hard for you when you were like kind of pitching this to them that you wanted to be involved, or they were like,
because I've known the owner for a really long time.
okay,
yeah,
okay, so they were like, we love this,
Yeah.
we're all about, okay, yeah.
Yes.
It seems like you have tons of support. You
Yes.
know a lot of people,
Yeah.
and which is awesome. So when people are, I guess, explaining this to like their family and friends, are they just because again, I can only imagine like being, not someone that has Miss Love Your Body as like their whole life, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they're just like regular, maybe they're a mom, maybe they're a sister, whoever, and they're just telling them like, how would they explain that they're walking into your fashion week? Like, would they be like representing as, this title for revolutionary pageants that you have to be a
Yes.
title holder to go, or is it?
It's open to all models. So
Okay.
they do have a world's top model competition, which you're
Okay.
not doing, but that
Right.
one is very like intense. It's fast paced, and I felt like we have 5 of our girls that are gonna do it, but
Okay.
it's just gonna be taking up a lot of their time.
Yeah.
And so like I was kind of being selfish, and I'm like, no, I don't want you guys to compete in that because like we have other, we gotta get content in
Yeah.
Times Square.
Yes.
So that's why I was
we
like
do.
selfishly, I was like, guys, don't compete in that. Like,
Well-
I didn't want to, hinder them.
And I just wanted you to use your best like judgment for me. Like I honestly, because like, and we've talked about several on the podcast before. Like I am that person that pushes like to the very like the full edge of it.
Yeah.
And like I genuinely want this to be fun. I want to learn a lot. I want to meet a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
you'll meet
like
a lot of people.
Yeah. So I am very like I don't really know what to expect,
Yeah.
but I kind of am just like taking it as I'm gonna pack all my stuff up and just roll with it.
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
we could watch the competition together because
Yeah.
we can like support our other girls, and then we could watch it. And then next year, like, oh, I want to compete in this, and go back and compete in it. Like
Yeah.
that's what I would think. But
Okay.
it is very like model forward, not pageantry. Walking down a runway, doing go-sees, like your portfolio, comp cards, all that kind of stuff.
Comp card. Like,
Yeah.
I did that. Like, I don't know. I was like, make this for me.
Yeah.
Like, it was so ridiculous. She's just probably like, this girl. But like, we never had to, because of a dance,
Yeah.
it was never.
Or like your headshots. So it's super easy.
Yeah, like I was just like, I don't know, man. I called like reinforcements, called my photographer up that day. I came back from Kentucky from something, and I was like, and my client, she has hair, so she like met me on the other side because my house is like Airbnb. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, set up your stuff in there, and then they just came through, and it was so cool. And I was kind of just like, when I was telling them about this, they were just like, yeah, I could totally see that. They were just like, this makes sense. Like, and that was what was so fun is it's like, and how you were talking about like, I think you're saying like, maybe not dream is big. It's like, no, like dream big. Like that is what is like contagious, and people
Yeah.
probably feel that. And I feel your energy with this, and you're so
Yeah.
passionate about it, and you know what you're talking about. And that's so cool, and it's just like, it's going to be amazing.
That's why obviously I wanted the sashes to stay at the international level green to represent the Arthritis Foundation. But at the same time, when I was designing like your level sashes for like USA and those, I originally thought, okay, like how can we get a little bit more creative and not look like every other system? Like there's other systems that have navy blue or green. Like, somebody doesn't own a color either. So I was
Right.
trying to be mindful of the systems, but at the same time, I'm like, there's only enough colors in the rainbow. Like I don't have
Exactly.
that much to choose from. So then I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, like let's work with the United Nations. Like this would be really cool.
Yeah.
And I called, it's actually a shark from Shark Tank. And I was like, hey, what is your idea about this? And he goes, actually, I have the perfect person for you, and literally plugged me in like the next day. And I was talking to a representative from the United Nations in New York.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is awesome. I'm changing all the sash colors. And
Yeah.
a lot of the girls were like, wait, what are you doing? Wait, it's not this, not that. I'm like, listen, like you can adapt, and like,
Yeah.
we're new.
Exactly.
Like where I'm changing it because I think it would be awesome if every country was on stage with a different color sash. So like
Yeah.
it's gonna look like a rainbow of colors
I
at
love that.
internationals. So like if you're from Ireland, our sashes are gonna be orange.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be really cool. Then you have like the UK or
Yeah.
Canada. Canada's red.
That's awesome.
So I think at international is going to make a huge statement because it's going to be
and you're like
different colors.
Right.
Yeah.
With like all my stuff, it's like, you know, I always want to differentiate myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're doing that. Like
Yeah,
you're
for
completely
sure.
differentiating.
I don't know any other system that has done that.
Right.
So.
And like how cool.
Yeah.
And so on that note, what are some other things, I guess, that most systems don't do that you're doing? Like, I mean, do like you said there's other systems that are going to be there in New York, right?
In New York.
Okay.
Yes.
So for those girls, I mean, did they just like pay to be a part of it and then they
did,
go?
yeah.
Okay.
They had to pay their own way. So we're the only pageant system paying for our girls to go. We're the only one. So I wanted to for the first year for sure. And then I think if they're competing with us at internationals next year, I feel like that's a part of their like prize package. So I want to always pay it for them.
Okay.
And I think I talked to you about it before. Like it's just very opposite. In the modeling industry, you get paid to model.
Yes.
In the pageant industry, they're paying designers
Yeah.
to walk. So I get it. They're like, this is a flex. Like it's a bragging, you know, rights. Like you can put your content of you walking in my shoes on the runway.
Right.
But I still just don't think that's fair. Like
Yeah.
you're a designer. You should be paying a model to walk in your show.
Right.
But I mean, some of them are upwards of $900 to walk for 30 minutes. And that's what I just
Jeez.
think is wild. Like that's why when you were talking about, hey, like is there other time for me to do shows? I'm like, well, there is, but it's going to cost like $1,000 for each one in our circle of the
Right.
pageant industry. So I just thought, you know, and I get it. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Why? Because they're very established designers, and then you know they accept X amount of models that pay that price. So I just think it's hard when you're already
Right.
paying for everything else.
Well, and is this the designers you're referring to? Are these the ones that like with Beauty It's Everywhere that we'll be with? Or are you talking like more like this is like the bigger designers that like in other
I mean, but
runways?
it's still in Beauty It's Everywhere. They're still paying to walk.
Right.
So it is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of other pageant runway shows that are going on at the same time.
Okay.
And they're $1,000. So not at our same
Jeez.
hotel.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, do you think like, is there going to be like, let's paint the picture. Like we're there, we're doing the runway show and then we have the awards. And then the Saturday is when the other ones that the designers that picked us and I'll be walking at like I think it's a 3:00 show or something like that.
Yeah, and ours, we do have, well, he said it originally, like, just to be flexible because, like, other designers will just grab you while you're there. And if they like you in person.
Grab me,
yeah,
please. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like this. This is me.
like, I'm ready.
Like I'm here. I'm available. Like
Right. Or if a girl gave the wrong measurements on the card or they gave the right measurements, but the dress just doesn't fit right.
Yeah.
Like if you have a different body type, then they
Right.
just have to fill someone who fits that garment. So that's kind of why he was like, everyone just needs to be flexible. And Renee would kept telling us like, you know, as a model, you have to be flexible. As a pageant girl, it's a little different because, you know, they're like, kind of can feel more entitled sometimes to like competition because you're paying to be there and it's just a different feel. But as a model, you just kind of have to, you know, you're supposed to be their hanger and like you're presenting their clothes and it's not about you, it's about the garment.
So do you feel like the girls who are in like in Revolutionary right now, like are they more like pageant girls or are they more model girls?
No, ours that we have, ours are definitely pageant girls.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and there's some that want to just have never done a pageant and want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think is super cool too. And I love
Yeah.
that. So I don't feel like the only one walking on a
No,
runway.
you're
Like
not.
and this is why too it's so cool because like I've been like I've had conversations with people about like me doing runway shows before and it's just never panned out. And it's never worked. It's almost like I wasn't enough of something, right? To be. But then it was like I don't know. It was just like I never fit like in the inclusive crowd.
Yeah. Or definitely they're like, you're not tall enough. You're not 6 foot.
Exactly. So it's like there's always so many boxes, and I'm like, bro, I was just like, I mean, because a lot of times like they either approached me or like, so it was just kind of like a man, like that's so disheartening. It's like, so I still don't fit in anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
that's why I love Renee because he definitely doesn't care like at all if you're what size you are, how tall you are.
Yeah, and that's super fun. And I think it's gonna be so cool. Just I mean, thinking about like even content wise, like we were talking about, just like to see the different bodies and to see the different things. So I love that. And like, yeah, I'm totally down, you know, to watch every show and to do all the things. And so I think it's gonna be great. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, what do you think? So, well, do we want to say about the Times Square? Do we want to?
Yeah, we can if you want to.
Tell them how you got this, like, because I am the Billboard queen. Like I am. You don't.
I know.
Understand.
I saw you on the National Sign. We've been on there too. One of my artists.
I love that. So National Sign at 5th and Broadway was like up there on the Billboard,
nice.
and love that. That
That's
was
awesome.
huge. I did Move Fit. It was the first fitness event they ever had there when they were building that whole area.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I love the Billboard. So tell everybody how you got this.
It's definitely with Renee as well.
Okay.
Like he has the opportunity every year, I think, because he's been there for 8 years. That they hold space for him. The only thing that's like hindering us a little bit is it is Super Bowl Sunday on that Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of got like taxed from who I've worked in the past, like just because it is Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I'm still working through a lot of the kinks with that. I'm
Yeah.
like, we're just gonna have to work with what we have. The girls that are doing top model, like they might not be in group pictures.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm like, we just have to do what we have to do. Whoever is there available to go see it, if it's on Friday and not on Sunday, like we have to adapt and just accept it and have a great experience no matter what. So I'm still working on that, but I think no matter what, hopefully I'll have like that news back this week on like what our schedule is for the boards in Times Square, but I'm very excited too.
I know. And so is it just going to be like kind of a, like, how is it, like, it comes up and, because, like, on the national sign, it was, like, we waited, and then it came up, and it goes away, like, in...
Yes, the same thing.
Okay.
He did mention today, like, there's other space available, so I might, like, we might grab another board, but I think he said it's, like, 88 times a day it runs, so I don't know, like, the gaps in between that, but I'll find out.
And then it'll be, like, and then will it be all of, like, us, like, represented up there? Like, will it be... Okay.
For ours, yes. And then Kathleen, our Mrs. North America Revolutionary, she won one of our other spots, so she'll be highlighted on his board as well from us, which is pretty cool.
I'm so excited. And you, for everyone that doesn't know, like, you're also a photographer.
Yeah, I do,
so you'll be like there taking photos like that.
That's why, like, they even offered, they're like, oh, do you want to walk with a girl since you're like, you crowned yourself? Because that's what I did. I was like, no, I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I just want to get all the content I can. And because I do photography, like, I think it's just a valuable asset. And then I'm bringing my business partner he's a DJ. His name is Cody.
Nice.
So he's actually DJing our show. And then like we're hosting the after party. So we got that. It's sponsored by Revolutionary Pageants. And like, that's going to be fun. It's all the girls and he's DJing that. So that's awesome too. But I feel like even he knows like how to get great content with his phone. So we have other BTS being taken. And then I know like any of their friends that are moms, everyone's going to be doing it too. But I just felt like, okay, it's a lot to add the expenses of travel and then also pay for a photographer there as well. So I wanted to do that just for our girls, like just to give back, like, hey, like I'm not going to charge you for me taking content, you guys, because obviously it benefits me too.
Right.
So
I love that. But also that's such, even that statement though, that's such a real statement, especially as a business owner being like taking that on, but understanding like the benefit mutually, you know, and I love that so much. So that people can check that out. And I'm definitely probably gonna go live on stuff, you know, for that.
We'll be
and like
live for sure in Times Square, like all weekend, I'm sure.
I can't wait. I have a couple other little surprises and stuff I'll talk to you after we're off podcast, whatever that I want to do too. And I'd love to have you a part of it. But yeah, I think it's gonna be so special. For everyone that is, you know, listening and watching, they can, you know, watch on Revolutionary Pageants. Is that the Instagram handle, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then your Instagram is what?
Oh, my personal is at Miss Tisha Marie.
Okay, cool. That way they can just kind of check it all out and everything. Because I just want to blow it up. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's going to be cool. And I think that once other, you know, people who have competed in pageants and thought about it, and then they see us there in New York, like that's awesome. Like it's just a great experience. And we want to make it a tradition where we're going back every year and just, you know, taking up space in the industry no matter what. Like, hey, we're here and we don't care what size you are. So that's why, like, that's our mission.
So, I love that. And somebody asked me, they were like, so like, are you gonna like learn how to walk on a runway? And I was like, you don't think I know how to walk?
What?
But I was like, I know how to walk in heels. I know how to wear, but also that is a valid question though. Are we like talking about this at all? Or are we just like, hey Danny, you on? And then like we go.
You have rehearsal, you're rehearsing, and then during the after party, it's actually I would say almost like a pre-party too, because you're able to walk the runway while Cody's DJing during that whole time, and that's prior to the other.
Okay, gotcha.
So you'll be able to utilize the stage.
Yes, I was gonna say, because I was just like, I mean, I didn't think I need to practice, but like, can I get a walkthrough?
And that's why I wish we had more time, because there's Duchess. I'll shout him out too. Like he's an amazing runway coach in New York City, and I wanted to like surprise everybody with that as like just a class with him, and he's like offering us a great deal, but I just don't think it's even gonna fit in the schedule because it's so packed. Man. So I was like really upset because like, man, it'd be awesome just to do that too. But we're just gonna have to.
So when we're up there though, are we gonna see are we gonna see like so we're gonna see people that are like models that like get paid to do this like regularly, right? And then we're gonna see
for sure.
And then we're gonna see like other like regular bodies and like other people like so tons of variety for the Friday, but same thing with the Saturday show, right?
Yeah, and then you'll also see like veteran pageant title holders who basically are models as well. So yeah.
That's so cool. I'm gonna be standing by somebody that's probably like super like ridiculously famous and like not even know. You know what I mean? I'd be like, hi, what's up? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I was so oblivious anyway. Like I walked around the Olympia and like there were tons of people. I was just like, I was like, oh, that was so and so, and like Ronnie Coleman was just sitting right there, like I didn't even realize, and I was like, oh, okay, well, okay. So I want to be very like present, you know. So if there's somebody that I need to talk to, if I need to meet, please, like, you know,
I will
grab me, because my brain goes a million miles a minute. You know, I'm thinking like, what's the next like content or this or that, you know. And so I really do. I'm excited about all that, but like, and I want to help you and be able to like represent your brand and be able to help, you know, just the girls feel more at ease and just like, you know, because I don't know what you maybe expect from them, but like I don't know if they're stressing out.
They're definitely all stressing out. I'm just gonna call them out. They all are. But I talked to a few of them.
Do you think it's because it's New York and it's a runway show, or do you think they would be freaking out about the pageant itself regardless?
I do think they'll freak out about both, but at the same time, I mean, I think it's just all unknown. We all haven't gone except for one of the. She's actually my international director is Heidi, and she's coming with us, and she has been before.
Okay,
so this is her 3rd year, so that's kind of cool. They can lean on her for you know advice because she's been there. But Marita's also coming. She's our national director. So I'm really excited that my directors are going to be next to me in this. And then we can make decisions going forward what we want to do for next year for the big pageant. And obviously I want an international Love Your Body title to be represented there as well. So I think it would be really cool that we take this bigger and then we're in other markets, or, you know, like even I've been talking to the girls in like Germany and they're like, there's nothing like this here, like at all. And it's so strict. Cool. Like, and they're very like in the same boat. Like the stereotype is this, like I have to be super skinny. I'm like, we want to change that. And I know people have tried, and I know there's other systems out there that, you know, they are inclusive. But
so would you say, just for people listening, because you know people gonna have like something to say about this, so
for sure,
you know, because a lot of times people will be like, not everyone is for bodybuilding, not everyone is for strongman, not everyone is for whatever. So with your approach or anything like that, you know, like, is it going to be with the judging and stuff like that, that the focus is not so much of the body size, but it is truly the whole package? Is that what you're like the main pitch that you're doing to like every other system?
Yeah,
like saying?
That and like their community service. And a lot of people have already gotten feedback where like, I'm so glad that you're counting the bio and the platform or sheets that we turn in. I'm so glad you're judging that. Like sometimes they'll just turn those paperworks in that they've worked on for like 6 months, and then the judges will read them in interview, and then you just have an interview score. You don't get scored on like what you actually wrote down on the paperwork. Okay. So we're scoring for that. Yeah. So I think that will help. Florida, United States, or United States back in the day, they used to do it too. I don't know if they still do, but that's why I was like, I think that's important. And then we score them on their appearances and charity work too.
I love that. I think it's important to note too that this is not just, you know, again, there's nothing wrong with how you said like the plus size, like models and anything like that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing. Yeah, it is just, but literally like everybody will be represented, and that's going to be cool,
right?
You know?
And that's like where the word revolutionary comes from, and that's that, you know, that disruption and that drastic change and dramatic change, and that's what revolutionary means. So that's why when I was thinking about names, I'm like, okay, this is kind of perfect, because we are, you know, disrupting. It is dramatic. It is change, and that's kind of why I'm like, there's so many other titles. We could just have a name that says like Miss United States. That's not, but it's hard to find those names too of a country that's not trademarked already. Right. So it's like everything's been done.
And you said that you kind of are ruffling feathers and whatever. What's been the big, if you don't mind sharing before we get, you know, before we end today, but like what's been the biggest, I guess, hurdle that you've had to go through right now?
The like in means of changing things?
Yeah, like just like with getting all this together and doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, definitely time management would be like my biggest hurdle right now, just because it is just me, and then my directors are not like fully on board yet. They're coming on board, and you know, we had to like reach out to investment and get funding to be able to pay them as well now. So that's like, that would be definitely my biggest hurdle. Like other than that, I don't know what people are saying about us, like behind you know screens or on text or what's going on. I haven't heard that yet. I'm sure.
And who cares? Like, you're gonna do it regardless.
I'm sure we're going to, you know, I'm sure we're gonna hear it. Yeah. I haven't heard that much yet, so I don't really think there's been a hurdle about those changes. I just know that we are ruffling feathers. Like even when I talk about universal health care and change and what I'm gonna do at the White House, and I'm literally talking in the House of Representatives in March, and then I'm going through 3 weeks of training with the National Psoriasis Foundation at the same time. So it's like these are big things that like even the things I'm gonna say out of my mouth, I'm getting paired with a senator, and I have to be like prepared. Like I
Yes.
know I'm ruffling feathers.
Right.
And it's not just in here, it's in healthcare in the industry
Yeah.
and why I think things should change. And I want to share my story of it took me 3 years to get diagnosed.
But
like,
also how all this lines with each other of the health and of
it's
loving
all
your,
health.
like it's
literally
all, yeah.
health and
okay.
wealth. And that's why I wanted to like focus, like our niche is like health and wealth management.
Yeah.
And nothing else. Because like the self-care, obviously great. Loved how that was a self-care point. Or the other ones, they give huge scholarships. And I want to do that with our teen programs. But with the actual competition, like I wanted to be able to like produce workshops like with you with the health side, and then we have other people coming in like Laura Cole, one of our attorneys. She's going to be talking about like financial, and like one of our sponsors, Pantheon Financial, is actually going to be donating Bitcoin to every single contestant, so they get $100 or $100 in Bitcoin instantly transferred into their wallet. They're like, what's a wallet? What is a cold wallet? What do these things mean? I don't know what an NFT is. Well, okay, you're going to have an NFT, you're going to have Bitcoin in your wallet, you're going to be able to open an account. They're going to get all these things like when they come to our meetings, and then people are like, what are you guys doing? Like, why? Like,
Well, it seems like you're literally hitting it from every facet and not just being like, this is just something you compete in and then whatever. Cause I think that sometimes people are maybe being like, well, what's the point of going to this? Right. Cause like, cause people, do they win money, like the winners and stuff like that?
We
like,
haven't decided yet if we're doing cash, but they're definitely win. Like there's huge contracts. I'm looking to actually do a car for the totally like first one. Cause I'm like, I need big things now to get people to sign up that I'm just like, you know, like I want to do a car lease. Like, why is that not a thing? Like,
I love that.
But then like other partnerships I'm doing that will increase like somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur. Like this is how to get involved. I'm working with like Dress for Success as well to help these girls that maybe they're underprivileged and they don't have enough money for an interview outfit. Yeah. Like, so I want to give other people opportunities, not just like a pageant girl who's got a $20,000 dress in her closet. Like that's not what this is about. So
for sure.
yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh. It's so, it just gets me so excited.
Yeah.
And there's, like, and I love your passion. I can feel your energy. And I think it's going to be so special. I can't wait. So let's tell you back real quick. So the dates are, we have, so this will be coming out right before we head to New York. So February 8th through the 11th is going to be that. So New York Fashion Week, stay tuned for all the stuff we'll be posting. And then also October 10th through the 14th, that week is going to be nationals. Yes. So if somebody wants to compete at nationals, where do they need to go to sign up?
Revolutionarypageants.com. We have an application form. They can click join now and sign up. And then that just tells us a little bit about them. We can get a feel about their platform. We're like, are you new? Are you a veteran? And then we give them a call and email them after that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, cool. So if there's, I guess we'll finish out on like personally, like what is your, you know, just like dream goal, put it out there. Like what is the like
5-year plan.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I mean, I want this to be successful. I have had a lot of losses in my life. I've taken a lot of L's. Like we haven't won. I wanted this to be a huge win for us and all the other girls that have struggled and been in that toxic environment, been bullied and fat shamed, everything else. Like I want this to be a big win. And I want girls to come back. I feel like that's important. I feel sometimes systems don't stop. And like, it's kind of like, even when you have somebody purchasing the fight, like you want a repeat customer, you want someone to still continue and buy your product. 100%. And at the same time, it's like, why are these directors not thinking like, you have a product, you have a brand, like you want the girls to come back and compete. So you need to make sure you're making an environment where they want to return when they don't win.
But it's because they're smug about it. And they just they assume that it's like, as long as we have it, like they'll come.
Right. Or or it's like a quick fix of they have them at their entry fee. Now I'll just get someone else later to come back to replace them.
Well, and that's something that I have said about even with the bodybuilding community, which I'll get flack for or whatever, but it's like, okay, if your girls are not healthy enough and they're just going through these preps and they're having health issues and stuff's like hitting the fan, how do you think they're going to pay to go compete? Or that they're ever going to want to compete again. So 100%. In your mind, you may not think that this whole like Love Your Body initiative is enough. And I'm not going to say like, I know that Whitney has given me a platform and been able to like help me with the all women's, you know, shows and stuff like that, which has been great. And I can speak and everything like that. And I know that the NPC is trying to get this mindset around it. But like, if we don't take mental health as a priority in that sport,
it has to be a priority here
then
too.
People are they're getting hospitalized or there's things that's happening.
100%.
And literally it's like, then you don't have, if you're thinking from a financial point, then they're not paying to compete.
Correct. I mean, I've seen girls pass out. I've seen girls throw up on stage. I've seen girls like just push themselves to the limit where it's like, stop. Like you cannot sacrifice your health for this.
Exactly.
It's not important.
And that's why I've said
not that important.
Well, and that's why I say you put all this money into supplements. You put this money into physical or the photos, and all the, the maybe working out or stuff like that. But like, why is there not a mindset coaching approach? Right. And so when I talk to people about it, they're kind of just like, oh yeah, it's like the back burner. I'm like, you're not going to make it to stage or make it to like through it, 100%. Even in a graceful way, if you don't have that mindset component.
And they need that too with interview, like going into an interview room. And we just had this conversation, I don't know if you read it in the feed, about them, like it's harder to make a judge laugh than it is to make them cry. So you can tell their story all you want to and go in there and waterworks are going to come out. But it's harder to make them laugh. So I was kind of telling Catherine that as well. She's our Ms. North America Revolutionary. Right. And I just feel like in this situation, they have to be mentally strong or else they won't make it, even competing with us at Revolutionary, because at the end of the day, it's still a competition. And I'm sure you can relate to that.
100%.
And we don't want to lose the fact. We don't want to lose the competition feel. Yeah. We just want it to be fair. Exactly. And still have a competition, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, it does. And I love that. And I think that's exactly how it should be. Yeah. And mental health is so important. And we have to, put that as, like a priority.
Number one priority. And that's why the sashes were blue, and they were working with NAMI as well. I'm sure you know NAMI. So that was the reason behind the blue and green. And that's why we're sticking with that. And I do think it's definitely important. And other systems have tried, or, the title holders may have that as their platform as mental health. But I don't think as a whole it's focused on like, let's put this as a priority, which is the only reason why I wanted to do Love Your Body with you, because I feel like it has to come first, or else there is no reason for any of us to be on a stage.
That's it. Sure. That's it right there. That's where we're ending it. I love it. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming on. Oh, thank you. The best. Yay.